Oof. Today, I'll tell you why that is actually not dirty. Dana White, president of the UFC, right? Rocked the football world this weekend when he revealed that John Gruden was too stupid to want Tom Brady and Gronk to be Raiders.
I worked to put that deal together for Brady and Gronk to come to the Raiders. And it was almost a done deal. And at the last minute, Gruden blew the deal up.
But the craziest thing I saw from the Gronk cast during the UFC fight was Gronk doing a shoey.
Wow. Gronk's fighting.
You ever drunk Baileys from a shoe?
What? Oh, finish the shoe. Oh, he did it, and I still caught it.
Is that how you get athlete's foot?
You wanna come to a club where people wee on each other?
Today I won't try and figure that out, but we will address the Gruden decision. I'll tell you why this hit on Kayvon Thibodeaux is not dirty. I'm gonna update you on Aqib Talib in that situation, and plus more NFL news. Oh my God, football season is so close. It's good sports. Yo, Patreons, all $20 patrons, the fantasy football draft info is up on Patreon, so make sure you sign up for your league there. Our drafts will be September 1st and 2nd, and there's still spots available, so do it now before they fill up. And I have big dick Patreon shoutouts for new patrons. Namey McNameface, upping to 179. Adrian Ortiz, upping to 20. Gridiron Globe, and Soul. Something I don't have. Patreon.com/thatsgoodsports, link in the description. After being involved in the alleged murder of a youth football coach by his brother, Aqib, Aqib Talib will step down away from his broadcasting role with Amazon and instead spend time with his family this season. And by family, I really hope it doesn't include his brother, because that's how we got into this mess in the first place. Aqib is one of my favorite Broncos of all time. His name has turned into a verb. I've had him on my podcast and had a great time talking to him, and that makes this situation all the more disappointing. I hope this tragedy allows him to rethink some of his choices and how he's going to approach the rest of his life. Now, I addressed this in the last week's episode, and obviously Aqib is not responsible for his brother's actions, but they believe he contributed to instigating the fight that led to the death and threw the first punch, which is the last thing someone as accomplished as Aqib should be doing as a youth coach at a football game. Now, in the last episode, I also said Mike Tomlin should get the Coach of the Year award. And I have changed my mind. And not because some are saying that the story about Tomlin stopping kids from fighting and then taking them to training camp is fake, but because Brian Daboll takes preseason just as seriously as the regular season. He deserves the award.
Fucking bullshit!
Pre-snap?
What the fuck?
Next to the unnecessary fucking profanity in the background there, why does Davis Webb's beard look so lopsided? This guy, who actually looks like Brian Daboll, will certainly never win Father of the Year. Now, out of respect for this kid, I've blurred his face, but if you ever want to feel pessimistic about our chances of survival as a human species, just look at this photo of this Browns fan. As a football fan, though, this does not surprise me. I know how bad football fans can look every single week when a fight video from every single game seems to go viral. I expect that. But as a dad of a 2-year-old girl, this makes me fucking sick to my stomach to know that there are other dads still out there teaching their sons that this is how you treat women. It's nauseating and reprehensible. Not that any version of this is okay, but it's not like this was some bro out with his friends trying to get a laugh. It's a grown man with his son, showing his son exactly who he shouldn't grow up to be. So maybe he's just setting a good example by being a horrible example. Now, this guy already deleted his Twitter account because I'm sure the responses were kind. And some people are saying he should be banned from Browns games. But it might be kind of hard to do that considering the Browns are the ones who are employing Deshaun Watson. Anyway, Panthers rookie QB Matt Corral will miss the entire season after suffering a Liz Frank injury in Carolina's game against New England. Corral was a third-round pick out of Ole Miss and was unlikely to start after the Panthers traded for Baker Mayfield. I'm surprised, though, the Panthers didn't also lose P.J. Walker after this very necessary hit by Christian Barmore. The Panthers also officially named Baker Mayfield the Week 1 starter today. So my question now is, what do they do with Sam Darnold? We know that they've tried to trade him because they had Matt Corral, but now they don't have Matt Corral. And I love P.J. Walker, but I'm not sure P.J. Walker's going to make the team. Either way, probably best to just keep Sam Darnold around for insurance. And also, I am rooting for Baker Mayfield to have the greatest Week 1 performance in NFL history because, again, that's when he plays the Browns. Carson Wentz can't take this long to throw the football. He especially can't take this long to throw the football when he's got Chiefs edge rusher George Karlaftis breathing down his neck. Karlaftis already has 2 sacks in 2 preseason games, and it looks like the Chiefs found a good one with the 30th overall pick out of Purdue. If you're looking for an under-the-radar fantasy football pickup, Chargers wide receiver Josh Palmer might just be your guy. The Chargers aren't super deep at wideout behind Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. And after Palmer put up 350 yards and 4 touchdowns as a rookie, I think he could be primed for a breakout year. Probably similar production that we saw out of Tyler Boyd for the Bengals. USFL MVP Cavante Turpin scored not just 1, but 2 return touchdowns in the Cowboys' preseason game against the Chargers on Saturday night. It's Turpin time. Turpin housed a kickoff return from 98 yards out before making another house call on an 86-yard punt return. Now, the Cowboys sat Turpin for the second half of the game, which should tell you that he's already locked up his spot with the Cowboys and doesn't need any more reps to prove he's on the 53. A great story for the USFL star. Now, I do love when we get some controversy in the preseason. And I love when it forces me to look at the NFL rule book and re-educate myself on what is and what is not legal. I'm talking about the Kayvon Thibodeaux knee block that riled everyone up on Twitter. Was this a dirty hit? Short answer, no. Longer answer, fuck yeah, if you're a Giants fan. Honestly, I think we're so used to how protected the quarterback is, we forget other players at different positions are allowed to be physical. Because Tom Brady got hurt exactly 1 time, you are never allowed to hit or tackle a quarterback low. Now, that is not true for any other position. I too forget you can block at the knees. Hell, even Rich Eisen forgot. We all got caught up in the moment on Twitter, which is why I love football season and Twitter. This is a low block. You can block an opposing player below the waist as long as that player isn't engaged in a block already. That's known as a chop block. And the Broncos won 2 Super Bowls doing those every single play before they were outlawed. Here's the NFL's definition of a chop block and a peel-back block.
Is when an offensive player blocks a defensive player in the thigh or below, while that same defensive player is engaged by a second offensive player above the waist. An offensive player cannot initiate contact on the side and below the waist against an opponent if the blocker is moving towards his own end line and he approaches from behind or from the side.
You could attempt to lump this hit into a peel-back block, but since the 2 defenders are literally facing each other, that's a stretch. So if Thibodeaux was blocking another dude and this happened, it would be a penalty. If you were running and hit from behind or the side, it would have been an illegal peel-back block. But since he was 1-on-1 as the 2 players faced each other, possibly getting lost in each other's eyes, because that happens from time to time, it's maybe just bad form versus anything else. Usually, when you criticize a Moss for blocking, it's because he refuses to do it. This is Thaddeus Moss making the block, son of Hall of Famer Randy Moss. And I like that Thaddeus is already getting attention for something his father never did, block. Thibodeaux did suffer a sprained MCL as a result, so he's going to be resting for the next 3 to 4 weeks. But seriously, shout out to Kayvon's ligaments for bending but not breaking when his leg was pinned right here. That's first round ligament talent. And finally, during the inaugural Gronk cast, produced by Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions for the UFC 270 whatever, Dana White dropped this titillating bombshell about the Las Vegas Raiders.
I worked to put that deal together for Brady and Gronk to come to the Raiders. And it was almost a done deal. And at the last minute, Gruden blew the deal up and said that he didn't want him. And all hell broke loose, man. It was crazy. And Brady was already looking at houses. And so Las Vegas would have had Brady and Gronk the year that the Bucs won the Super Bowl, except Gruden blew the deal up. I was never going to tell that story till Gronk just said it, but yeah.
And Dana,
let me tell you what, Brady was not happy.
And you just told the story.
John Gruden said no to Tom Brady. Guess who loves John Gruden again? Now please tell me Gruden blew up the Brady deal in an email by calling him... Never mind. What's worse though? Sending emails with slurs in them, or coaching football for your entire life and thinking you're better off with Derek Carr and Henry Ruggs over Tom Brady and Gronk? It's pretty impressive that this has been under the wraps for so long. But you know what they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Or it comes out and it ruins your marriage and your family. That can happen too. And now with this story out in the open, we finally know who the motherfucker was that Tom Brady once referred to on the HBO show that isn't House of Dragon.
One of the teams, they weren't interested at the very end. I was thinking, you're sticking with that motherfucker?
It was indeed Derek Carr. And Tom Brady is jealous that Derek Carr looks more like a male model than him. One is a walking ad for Hot Topic, while the other is a living after photo for Botox. Both are my enemy. Now Brady is lucky that this deal fell through, and to be honest, I'm shocked that he ever even considered the Raiders a worthy destination. The 2020 Raiders were a complete shit show on defense that finished 30th in the league in scoring and takeaways. For comparison, the 2020 Bucs finished with the 8th scoring defense and took the ball away 25 times, which was 8th most in the league. They might have been like second best against the run as well. I also have absolutely no idea how Tom Brady would have gotten along with John Gruden. I think Brady would have taken a vet's day off, and Gruden would have called him an anti-football pussy, and the two would silently feud for the rest of the season until Brady leaked those emails. Oh yeah, and now it's obvious that Tom Brady was the whistleblower on those emails. Furthermore, I don't think you could find two more opposite people than Tom Brady and Raiders owner Mark Davis. Brady would be horrified by Davis's diet of P.F. Chang's with the side dish of more P.F. Chang's, while Davis would be horrified to learn that people like Tom Brady spend more than $7 on a haircut. Would Gruden have given Brady 2 weeks off from training camp so he could vacation in the Bahamas with his wife? I doubt it. The Bucs are the only thing that got in the way of the Chiefs winning back-to-back Super Bowls. Do we really think Aaron Rodgers would have beaten the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? He couldn't even avoid COVID the last time those two teams met. That's the silver lining of this story. And while I wasn't happy to see Brady win his 7th Super Bowl with anyone, I can at least be glad it happened outside the AFC West, and that John Gruden, is the main reason the Buccaneers have 2 Super Bowl wins. Put him back in the Bucks Ring of Fame. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube and Patreon. $20 members. Don't forget the info for the fantasy leagues up on Patreon.